What's up YouTube, and welcome to my pickups video for the month of August 2025. This was a very busy month at work, so I didn't get to do a whole lot of game hunting locally, but at the very end of the month, I just got back from a Labor Day weekend trip to Jacksonville, Florida, and then also visited Daytona and Ocala and Gainesville, and so kind of did the loop of North Florida. I had never been to that part of the state before, so got to do some game hunting while I was out there. And unfortunately didn't really bring home a whole lot of stuff, but definitely was a fair amount of game stores for some of those cities that aren't necessarily very huge. Of course, while I was in Daytona, I had to go to an arcade and play Daytona USA. I felt like that was a must do, so it was really cool getting to see the Daytona racetrack, and then going across the street there was an arcade, and they had not only the 8-player Daytona USA, the modern one, they didn't have the vintage one, unfortunately. And then they also had, what was really cool, was the Outrun 2 SP Super Deluxe cabinet with the 4 Ferraris that you get in, the full-body Ferraris. So, hadn't seen one of those for probably like 15 years in Vegas, and definitely a very rare cabinet, so it was cool to play that. But just kind of neat to soak in the Sega scenery in Daytona, and they even had a Daytona race car inside of the arcade, and it even had some Sega badging on the side. So, kind of neat to see if you're ever in the area and you just want to pay tribute to some of the classic Sega goodness that comes out of that area, or at least influenced by it. But that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the pickups. Like I said, not a whole lot of stuff this month just because I was so busy, but did get some things to talk about. So, first one is not very exciting at all. This was at my local thrift store, and I do already have a full Sega Dreamcast complete set for the US set, of course, and then this was actually a launch title. And why I grabbed this is because this was stuck in the CD section of the store, and it was 99 cents. And so I figured, you know, any Dreamcast game is worth 99 cents at this day and age. And I got it home, and it turned out it actually was a nice upgrade. Mine was pretty beat, one that I obviously didn't spend a whole lot of money on because it was just a game I didn't really care about. But this was a launch title for the system, like I said. And one thing I thought was kind of interesting when comparing my two copies of this was that this one has this barcode on the back that actually looks like very makeshift. It doesn't really look like a real barcode. And so what I noticed about my other copy is it had the same tray art on it, but it had like a sticker stuck on the back of the jewel case. And so kind of interesting. I don't really know what happened there. Maybe they rushed this out because it was trying to make launch and they just needed a dummy barcode, and then they stuck a sticker on the back of the case later on. This one didn't have the sticker, so I don't know if that makes this one earlier or not. And then the other thing I thought was kind of neat about this is it had an ad for the early Ubisoft games, and Speed Devil's artwork is just like a mock-up on this, so this was obviously very early. So, kind of interesting to see one of the first 12 titles of the Dreamcast, and this one's like really mint, so I'm going to definitely upgrade this to my other copy, and worth the 99 cents just for a simple, you know, grab at the thrift store, so decided to grab that. I'll show you something I got in Florida, and so of all the game stores I hit out there, I actually bought one thing, which is kind of sad. The stores out there actually had some decent stuff. It just really wasn't anything I was looking for. And then, of course, I always ask stores if they'll sell loose manuals, and I got a variety of like, no, we don't do that, no, we don't know where they are, and also check our eBay store. That's where we list them all, which, you know, is kind of a bummer. So, anyway, the game I got, which I found, this was also an upgrade, was very appropriate for my Florida trip. And so I kind of wonder if this game sold better there, because this is a pretty uncommon Game Boy game, and that is Tailgater. This is the original Natsume release. This one did get a repress by Limited Run recently, but this is the official original copy of it. And I've owned this game for many years. I think I got my copy at a flea market years and years ago. But I remember mine was a little bit rough, and so I decided to go ahead and upgrade it. But the main reason I wanted to upgrade it is it actually came with the original manual as well. So definitely didn't have this in the collection prior, and thought might as well go ahead and get the pair since they were selling them together bagged up that way. So maybe someday I'll get a box for this. I really like collecting all the early Natsume stuff. I find it very interesting, and, you know, be kind of neat to have this one complete, but I also know this is one of the more expensive titles on the system, complete in the box. The other thing I want to comment on, if you haven't appreciated the rad artwork here, is our Gator friend. It looks like he's wearing British Knights or BKs, you know, so he's ready to kick some butt for sure, in pure 90s style, so I thought that was kind of funny, just being a kid of that era. But yeah, again, just I found it kind of ironic that, like, I find a game about alligators in the most alligator-heavy part of the country, and so kind of got to wonder if maybe this game was shipped a little heavy to that part of the USA, but maybe not, who knows, but either way, cool to get a nice upgrade on that. The last thing I got, I know, like already I'm done, this is the last game, it was my big splurge of the month, And this came early in the month. This actually was an eBay find. A seller in Canada had several Neo Geo CD games listed, and he had best offer on all of them, and they all were like priced in Canadian dollars, and so like even with the exchange rate, it was pretty favorable compared to what you would buy these for from a domestic seller. But then I just decided to spitball like a lowball offer on this, and like to my surprise, he accepted. So this is one of the big dogs of the Neo Geo CD system, and I'll tell you a couple reasons why. This is Big Tournament Golf, which from the title you might be thinking like, that doesn't really sound like anything I know or that I'm that familiar with. But unfortunately, that was just the Japanese title of this. This is much better known in the US and probably in Europe as Neo Turf Masters, which is an all-time great golf game for the system. I don't even like golf whatsoever. I've never played the actual sport of golf other than like driving ranges and putt-putt. But this is a fantastic game, and I can get into this. And it's very strange because I can't really get into any other golf games. Neo Turf Masters is the best. It's just so much fun. It's very, very arcadey, naturally, because it's on the Neo Geo. But it is just very easy to pick up and play, and kind of feels like a bowling game in a way, just with some of the things that you adjust, and then it's like very fast and rewarding to see your ball get into action. So why is this such an expensive game on the Neo Geo CD? For one, it was kind of a late release. This came out in '96, which really was toward the tail end of the system. It didn't have a long life. And then the other thing is that it's obviously very popular. This was developed by Nazca, which is the same developer that is much better known for creating Metal Slug. And so it has some of their great graphics that they're known for. It's obviously high demand because of that. And then I guess just the other thing about this one is that the Neo CD one is actually pretty special. And so if you think about a lot of the games that came out on Neo Geo CD, several of them have like arranged soundtracks, so they'll have like maybe some additional music, or maybe it's like tuned a little bit differently to play up the CD quality sound. This one goes a little bit beyond that. It actually has some bonus music that's not in the other versions. And then the other thing that really makes this one special is it has a whole nother course that is not in the cartridge AES or MVS versions of the game. So really, this is the definitive version of Neo Turf Masters, which is kind of weird to say that. Neo Geo CD sometimes got like actually cut down versions of games, and then sometimes they were enhanced, but then the load times kind of took away from the bonuses about it. But this one actually plays well. It's very quick, loads nicely, and definitely a lot of fun. So the first half of the month when this came in, I played this for a couple weeks probably, and I'm getting pretty good at it, but I definitely am not a pro. So I'd like to go play this in the arcade now and just kind of show off, maybe find somebody else that would play, against me in this, but see how I do. But yeah, definitely happy to have this in the Neo Geo CD collection, especially it is probably one of the top 5 priciest games on the system. I'm still like on the fence of whether I want a complete Neo Geo CD set or not. I'm kind of just still chipping away at it and just getting the stuff that interests me. There is still just a bunch of filler games that are very cheap, and I'm just putting those off because I figure if I get all the big titles, it'll make it easy to get the cheap stuff later on. So more to come on that, but very happy to have this in the collection, and just been a lot of fun playing this month too. So, like I said, not a big month for pickups. Work was just super crazy. I just had that one trip at the end of the month for leisure, and I didn't do any work travel this month. So September is shaping up a little bit differently. I've got some travel coming up for work and for fun, and so hopefully we'll have some other stuff to show you in the coming month. But hopefully you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching. Please take a moment, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. And I will talk to you soon. Have a great day or night, wherever you are.